All right. Let's see. All right. Hey, everybody. So sorry I'm late. I actually wanted to set up a few things before the show. Just a little caveat. I will be talking about a couple things today. I kept racking through my brain of what I wanted to speak about today because a lot has happened. People are calling like Phil Spencer a liar. We have Hellblade and all these other cool things that are happening. So I won't focus. Maybe I'll focus a little bit on that toxic side, but I really wanted to make this sort of a unique stream today and dive into some of the tech stuff because I want to show you guys what is available now with face sort of mocap sort of technology. Like I'm going to show you guys in real time, just to show you how impressive the Hellblade demo is. So as me being a developer slash animator, I want to show you guys like more of that dev side of me, but also like some of the technology that is there. So that will be a little bit after my first segment of the show, which is kind of talking about the whole Phil Spencer debacle. A lot of people are very mad and crying that they're saying Phil is a liar. He said these games, but no one could really point to a quote that says all Bethesda games are going to be on PlayStation, right? There's that quote out there doesn't exist. But what does exist is some other statements Phil has made, which kind of, I guess, people who are on Sony's side would be like, oh, well, I thought it was coming because he said in here, I have so many different things I'm going to pull up, so excuse me. Let's just go to that this Kotaku one really quick. Let me close this one out. So this Kotaku one says exclusives are completely counter to what gaming is about. So that's what the headline says, but I think one is kind of out of context to what he's talking about, and two, it's mostly going into the crossplay argument where Sony was essentially charging for crossplay, and he's talking about a couple other things here, and I do have it's here some of his other quotes. Here's the full quote from that article. So because the article is the headline that people keep using, but they don't actually dive in because that's not really what he said. Phil stated, gaming is about entertainment and community and diversion and learning new stories and new perspectives. He said, I find it completely counter to what gaming is about to say that part of that is to lock people away from being able to experience those games, or to force someone to buy my specific device on the day that I want them to go buy it. In order to partake in what gaming is about, gaming is bigger than any one device. Now, this is like a short section of what he was talking about, but this is the full quote to give you a little bit more context to kind of what he was hinting at. Hello, Big Matt Mo, Poison Maniac. First, let me say hi to everybody who's joining me live. Appreciate you guys. I am trying to make this a regular thing. I have a very sort of crazy schedule sometimes. For those who don't know, who are just jumping in, I am an animator in the industry slash game dev, and did some stuff for Fable and other titles. Now I'm just live streaming, podcasting, saying what my thoughts are on different topics in the gaming industry, trying to make it a weekly segment, give a unique perspective from, I guess, a developer at points. So maybe you come to me, I might have a different perspective on different situations. But I appreciate you guys all for dropping by. I'm sure you guys have seen me either on other shows. I sometimes drop in chat. I've seen Big Matt Mo all around different podcasts. So appreciate you for dropping by. Everyone else, welcome to the stream. I try to do this usually every Wednesday. Yesterday, I decided not to do it because I was so hyped on the GDC event. Sorry, this is a caveat to what the Phil thing. I will return back to that. But the GDC event was so inspiring to me as a developer that I just wanted to immediately just start creating things. So I was like, I can't stream right now. I'm going to go in Unreal Engine 5 and just start building things. So that's why there was no show yesterday. I get really inspired by stuff, so I was like, okay, I can't stream. But good thing about me not streaming yesterday is the fact that I will actually show you guys some cool technology of what's available now and what you can do now to do as if you're an indie developer and you want to like create someone's face related sort of to Hellblade. You guys will see it here live. Now it may go wrong, it may go completely wrong, but I do want to show you guys what's possible and how amazing that is. Big Memo, he said I should do a create stream. I definitely am considering it. So I sometimes I just think it would be boring me trying to figure things out because it may just look like, I don't know, I'm literally just staring at a screen and I'm failing at things. So I mean, if you guys find that interesting, maybe I'll do that as well. But usually it's me staring at a screen for a long time and I'm just like putting things together like, oh, that didn't work, and you know, I would think you guys would like to just see the success portion of development. Like during GDC, for example, they were showing just different demos of what to do in like Fortnite. Like, look, you could change the time of day, and it is. I have jumped around engines for quite some time. I've been lucky enough to use some engines in the industry, like a little bit of, I've seen Frostbite, I've seen whatever Division uses. I don't know why my brain is not working right now. Whatever Division uses, I've seen it in action. Great engine. And Unreal is definitely top tier in a lot of different ways. So welcome to Blue, welcome everyone, thank you guys for coming. Fuzzy, of course, thank you, man, for dropping by. Big Man Mo says, what's your favorite engine to work with? My favorite engine so far, Snowdrop, thank you. Favorite engine so far, it's gonna sound weird because I'm gonna be amping up the Unreal Engine, but Unity has been really simple for me. If I need to just do a test demo really quick, Unity has been like, maybe it's because I'm used to it, I could just like create a level like that. Unreal, I'm trying to understand Unreal a lot more because of how impressive it is. That's why yesterday I was just messing with Unreal. I was just doing different tech demo stuff, which I will do live on the stream. So for those who are interested, stay tuned. I will be demonstrating some, not necessarily Unreal, but maybe I'll just drop it in Unreal so I could show you guys some cool tech of creating a character in 3D, with some shortcut ways that some people are doing right now. And I will definitely jump into that. The Blue says, hey 3-Bit, playing Diablo 4 this weekend? Yes, I do plan on it. I haven't gotten the chance to play the I guess it was a closed beta. Yeah, because you needed like a pre-order, or I guess you needed a pre-order or you needed to get KFC. Am I right about that? So I didn't get in because I don't really want to pre-order it, but I will definitely check it out if it's open. If I could just download it. I don't know what the process is for that yet, but almost everybody in the Fun Speculation family, they're talking about it. They're in our DMs. We have like a group chat. Everybody who's on the Fun Speculation network, which is Map, Hong, Kate, Jasper, Fuzzy. We're all like in a group chat, and we just we always like to like message each other like the latest gaming news and things like that. So yeah, I think I will definitely check it out. But if I had to pick in terms of ease of use, it's Unity. But where the industry is going, I'm definitely gonna want to check out Unreal. It's just very impressive. So, anyways, that is the intro, sort of, the show. But I did want to jump into a few things, and we will definitely get into the engine talk. This is it's like the first part of the show is like it has some topics of what I want to discuss, and then I sort of leave the show open to you guys asking me whatever question you want. That's why it's called Ask 3-Bit. So it's very open ended. I don't really want to organize it too much, but the first half I usually try to get some topics out the way because people like to know what my point of view is on some of these things. So, couple things happened. We had people sort of misquote Phil, right? Where he said this, and this is what the main picture that a lot of people are using to say that Phil has been lying. They sort of just use this headline without taking into context of what he actually said. And Kotaku, of course, is going to use the juiciest bit, right, for their article. I think it's important to take into context of not only what Phil is actually saying, but the time frame he's saying it, and also what he's actually replying to. All of those things matter, especially because Phil is very smart with how he words things. So, like, for example, a lot of people like use the quote of he's bringing all these games to other platforms. Look what he said. And then you can't really point out a single quote that he says that all Bethesda games are going to PlayStation. When he's referring to other platforms, you can assume that it's within the Xbox ecosystem. Anytime he's just like, yeah, we want to bring more players to Xbox, he's talking about Xbox. And Xbox isn't just a console anymore. Xbox is an ecosystem now. So whenever they're referring to Xbox, usually they're not talking about the console anymore. I think that's sort of the difference between Sony's approach, which is like hard console sales. This is like Sony's approach is pretty much what it's been for like the last decade, which is focusing on hardware sales, focusing on software sales, etc., etc. Microsoft, like, yeah, that's nice, but what we really want are subscriptions and opening our ecosystem to other places. If Xbox or if Game Pass is not on that place, you can assume it's not a part of what Phil is talking about. Like, if he's saying like, oh, I want to bring our games to more places, PlayStation isn't necessarily in that conversation when he's talking about that. He's talking about wherever Game Pass exists, which is what he said in that quote that people always cut off the Game Pass part. Wherever they're going to bring... Wait, what was the full quote? Basically, wherever our games are going to exist will be where Game Pass is. Something like that. Right, I'm paraphrasing. But that's their plan. If PlayStation has Game Pass, you can assume that those games are also going to be on PlayStation. They also mentioned like legacy titles. That wasn't in a document as far as I know, but they did talk about it in a few interviews of their plans for Bethesda, where they want to take some of these games. And so far, it's been matching up with what they've been doing so far. Xbox has pretty much they've honored all contracts, right? Deathloop and Ghostwire Tokyo were PlayStation exclusive for an entire year before we even got those titles. And obviously Ghostwire is still not out, but it's coming out soon. But yeah, they honored those contracts. So that was the case by case that he was talking about. The other case by case is the legacy titles, games that they're constantly updating. I see people, I think Reforged kind of talking about oh, but that's kind of shady because those are already on the platform. But yes, he's right about that. But also, it's those games. But if they make another edition of that game as well, like a brand new edition, it's still going to be supported on PlayStation. So, for example, Skyrim Anniversary Edition was supported on the Switch, was supported on other platforms. Then you had I think Wolfenstein had a special edition. Outer Worlds 2 just had something, even though it's not technically Obsidian that was working on that. It was Private Division because they own the rights to the first game, publishing the first game. So they're going to milk as much as they can to get that money off of that license, knowing that the second game is coming out and it's going to be successful. Yada yada yada. Hello Reggie. Hey Big Matt. Well, so when they talk about legacy titles and they say case by case, you could assume they're talking about the legacy titles that are already on the platform if another version of it comes out. How many versions of Skyrim have we seen? Probably like a million. So if another Skyrim comes out, you could assume it's going on PlayStation. If another version of Wolfenstein comes out, you could assume it's going on PlayStation. Every other game, most likely, will be exclusive to the Xbox ecosystem. That's why, you're going to see a lot more tears from Sony fans coming up, just because a lot more of these games are going to be exclusive to the ecosystem. But the thing is, it's not necessarily a negative. A lot of these games, if you're on a PlayStation side, you have to play these games on the PlayStation. Now, they are opening up their ecosystem to PC, but usually it's not day and date. When the hype already dies down, then they, release it again for the PC. Usually it's a year or so later. Maybe that window will shorten as PlayStation has to evolve their business model. But their ecosystem, what they're known for, what PlayStation is known for, is releasing the game only on PlayStation. Xbox, whenever they're saying exclusives aren't what we are talking about, or they're counter to what we mean, whatever, they don't technically have exclusives. Xbox technically does not have exclusives anymore. They've sort of broke the barrier, if you really think about it, of what was traditional to consoles. Releasing your game exclusively on a console, right? That's how it was for many years. Almost a decade. If you were publishing for Xbox or Sony, you're just releasing your game on a console. Xbox kind of changed the messaging to be okay, we're gonna release our game also on PC. And I remember when that happened, there was a lot of backlash. You're why are you trying to put your other games on PC? It was, I think a lot of people forget that time period when Xbox was we're going to start putting our games on PC. There was a lot of backlash from Xbox fans and Sony fans, mostly Xbox fans though. But whenever they're saying exclusives are counter to what we talk about, you could assume that they're still not referring to PlayStation. They are opening wherever Game Pass is, right? And they are accessing more players outside of their console. So you have your console, that's however many players, right? Then you open that up to the mobile audience, which is probably it's bigger than PlayStation in the first place, the mobile audience. And on top of that, you release it to the PC audience, right? And then on top of that, you have things like TV apps where you can play Game Pass straight through a TV app. All of those is still within their ecosystem, so it benefits them. If you put games on a PlayStation where they are constantly charging for crossplay, hindering support for Game Pass, or not wanting to support it, it doesn't make business sense necessarily for them to always support PlayStation. It does in some instances, like if it's a huge game and et cetera, et cetera. Like, it makes sense for those bigger titles. But if they want to grow Game Pass, they can still, they don't really need the PlayStation audience to do that, which is where I think a lot of people get sort of misconstrued. Hello, Big Mad Mo, Poison, Talos, thank you for dropping. Thank you guys for coming in. Big Mad Mo says, this is about great exclusives for you on platforms where Game Pass exists. Thank you. I couldn't remember the full quote, but yeah, that's exactly what Phil said. He said about great exclusive where Game Pass exists, or on platforms where Game Pass exists, right? So let's go back to this sort of Kotaku article. So when he's talking about this, when he's saying exclusive or counter to here's the full quote. I will read it again. Gaming is about entertainment and community and diversion and learning new stories and new perspectives. He said, I find it completely counter. This is where Kotaku just like, whoop, let's take this part and make a headline. I find it completely counter to what gaming is about to say that part of that is to lock people away from being able to experience those games, or to force someone to buy my specific device on the day that I want them to go buy it. In order to partake in what gaming is about, gaming is bigger than any one device. Gaming is bigger than any one device. That he's not necessarily talking about like PlayStation. Microsoft's business model, fancy transition. Microsoft's business model doesn't have exclusives anymore. That's where people like kind of get confused. Like, their business model is like, yes, it's exclusive to Xbox and PC, but by definition, like them already having more than just the console, they're expanding into other sectors, other areas, which is really smart on their end. That's what he's talking about, like being able to play Starfield on your phone. A lot of people who are twittering about like being mad about Starfield and Redfall, the device that these people are tweeting on, you can play a lot of the Xbox games. So they want people to invest in this ecosystem, right? If you're going on a computer talking about it, you can play Starfield on PC. You could play a lot of Xbox games. I don't know if you'll be able to play Starfield on a phone, but maybe you will. I'm sure they'll support it. So that's basically what he's kind of talking about. And I don't remember if it was specifically this interview or another one where he kind of goes into the whole crossplay, because at the time, and I'm sure they are still doing it, Sony was charging for crossplay, countering Epic for that lawsuit, right? Epic we found out in some emails that they were complaining like, listen, Sony, you are charging us for crossplay for Fortnite, and this is kind of messed up, right? So I believe some of the context was to that, but yeah, I'm not quite sure. What I did want to bring up, sort of caveats into my next topic, which is Hellblade. So this is actually an older article, but it's still really relevant. It's still really cool. This is from, I believe, the first Hellblade. If it's not from the first Hellblade, they at least reference some things into. But what I like about this article is how much it kind of goes into the process of mocap, and not a lot of people talk about this article. It's really well written. So props to FX Guide. But it kind of does a whole breakdown of how they made it happen, how they put markers on the face, for Senua, and what they ended up doing for like the lips, for example, like this, to make the tracking even more accurate. And I'm about to get in like some nerdy game dev territory, so forgive me. But I do think it's interesting, and anyone who's visiting my stream, just expect me to sometimes just go into game dev talk, because that is the perspective I usually am speaking from anyways. So what I found interesting was in Senua, they colored the top lip and the bottom lip differently, so the tracking is more accurate. It kind of goes into like the head rig and all this different stuff. And yeah, so I definitely will link the article in the description if you guys are watching. This is like a face rig. They even went down to figuring out the blood flow of like when someone's super angry, where does your blemishes come from, and all that. It's super cool. Definitely check this article out if you guys are interested in Ninja Theory, because I think Ninja Theory is such a talented studio. They are very underrated. I feel like they aren't enough in headlines, because what they do to try and push realism. They had the demo, that horror demo. It's their other project besides Hellblade. I can't remember, but they basically scanned an environment and it looked exactly like, you couldn't tell which one was the real picture, which one was the fake. They're really going for photoreal. The difference, I keep seeing people start to compare Hellblade to, of course, some Sony titles, like Horizon Forbidden West. I think the difference is with Horizon, I don't have a picture with me or anything. I think the difference with Horizon Forbidden West is a lot more stylized realism. Yes, it has amazing textures, fidelity. He has like the hairs coming off the sides of the face. Very intricate details and things like that. But it's a lot more stylized at the same time if you actually are playing the game. The way like her hair is moving is all over the place, in my opinion. There's certain things. Still looks great, right? But their goal for Ninja Theory is more hyper realism. I wouldn't say like people in the people in that game that I just mentioned. Their goal for development is way different than what Ninja Theory is doing. What Ninja Theory is doing is actually scanning live faces. Project Mara, thank you guys. Thanks Fuzzy and Big Memo. Their goal is completely different. Ninja Theory is actually scanning a live face. You can see like they studied how the paint would crack and everything. It's super impressive. It's very impressive. Technology is getting insanely better each time. They are showing it. This was an Unreal Engine 4, and obviously they have upgraded to Unreal Engine 5. So I want to show a live sort of video of the full sort of, not the whole thing, but kind of just showing the Unreal MetaHuman demo, because people usually see the end part. They usually see this part right here where it's very impressive, yada yada, but before that they're kind of talking about the tech of it, because a lot of people, I see people saying like it was fake and it was rigged and none of that stuff is real. But that's because they are only watching the trailer part. They didn't watch the full presentation on how this is going to be in the game, sort of the whole breakdown of how it works. So it kind of just goes into like taking the actual live data, then the guy is doing it live on the stage, kind of talking about comparing the performance and how the 3D model without any trackers. And this was actually in that article. They kind of talk about not even needing trackers anymore, because our technology is getting better. They're still going to have trackers. They say they do it as a caveat, just like as a backup. But our technology is getting so much better that our facial performances and stuff are, like the computer is just able to read them, and what the computer is confused about is filled in by AI. So it's getting super impressive. So this was just some of the stuff that happened before that demo. So she went up on the stage. I played the full thing. She went up on the stage, and they kind of talked about the first Hellblade and the experiences was. Then you had MetaHuman and talking about basically they're having a partnership. I think this is something a lot of people were also kind of missing. Epic and Ninja Theory, the fact that they're working together for MetaHuman and is very impressive. And it kind of shows you that this game's going to be very interesting and special. And also, while Microsoft, I need to close in for this one because I need you guys to hear me on this. So, Microsoft has more studios that work in Unreal Engine, and also they have a lot of developers who are helping Epic, and Epic is also helping them in return. But why I find that's interesting is because you have Sony, who usually uses their own proprietary engines. You have God of War, that they don't use Unreal Engine. You have Naughty Dog with Uncharted and Last of Us. They don't use Unreal Engine. The one studio that did use Unreal Engine on Sony's side was that biker game. Can't even remember the name. What's the... Someone in comments can help me. But that biker game used Unreal Engine. But most Xbox studios use Unreal Engine. Sea of Thieves, Hellblade, Halo's even moving to the Unreal Engine. Master Chief Collection uses Unreal Engine in its menus. You have Gears of War. You have Outer Worlds. All of these different games are using Unreal Engine. And the Coalition are they're basically masters of it. Thank you, Big Bat Mo. Days Gone. Days Gone uses Unreal Engine. It's the only Sony game that comes off the top of my head that uses Unreal. The rest are proprietary engines. So while Sony is sort of... They donated quite a lot of money to Epic. While that is happening, they donated, I can't remember how many millions of dollars to Epic. To me, that was always confusing because it's like, yeah, you're donating the technology to Unreal. Maybe it's for more so third party, but Sony's not really using Unreal in a lot of their games. Not to say that can't change, but as the current focus, most likely Insomniac is going to keep using their engine. Naughty Dog is going to keep using their engine. They're super good at it. They're super comfortable with it. They don't have to use Unreal. Their games look amazing. So it leaves like a interesting spot in partnership with Xbox in a lot of ways, where most of their studios are using Unreal. So I always thought that was a interesting sort of point. Like, yes, Sony's donating all this money to them, but in the end, the one who's actually doing a lot of back end work, and a lot of these studios are working together behind the scenes. Speaking without, I'm speaking from experience. A lot of these studios are helping each other, right? They're constantly sharing technology with each other. So you have the Coalition, who are the masters of Unreal, and you have like people who are developing Sea of Thieves and stuff. They're sharing technology. So when one studio gets really good at something, the benefit of being an Xbox studio is, which I wish that guy from Redfall talked about more. He kind of hinted at it, like it's like, yeah, for Redfall, by focusing on one platform, we are able to, just prioritize that a bit more, right? That's one side of it. The other side that doesn't get talked about a lot, probably because of NDAs and other things. Understandable. I'm not necessarily in NDA to that conversation, so I will talk about it a little bit. Other studios are helping each other. Other studios are giving each other technology. One studio can get really good at one thing, like Sea of Thieves with water, for example. And let's say they use that technology for Hellblade. They're like, oh, you guys did great with great water in Sea of Thieves. We would like to apply that technology to Hellblade, right? Not saying that's what happened. Not saying that, but what I am saying is that happens within Xbox Studios, right? So, anyways, so I found that was interesting. Getting to see this full presentation. You guys should definitely go watch it. It's GDC 2023. They kind of go into their metahuman and what the advantages are with it, and doing a live demo of the technology. It's not loading. Doing a live demo of the technology in real time without any trackers, and then showing what you can do real time with it, which is super impressive. And I can't wait to see how that translates to the game. I did get asked a question whether or not I believe it'll look this good in the game. I do think it is a possibility. The one thing they'll have to sort of worry about is having that much detail. Usually you can come up with anti-aliasing and things that are happening in the background, which degrades quality, and you have to worry about the optimization more so. Because when you're focusing on a face, it's like most of the resources go towards that face, but what about you running around and things like that? So they're wizards, though. I'm not 100% worried about it. I trust them to deliver. When I played the first Hellblade, I thought, wow, this is incredible, right? The way that they're able to mix actual people. If you guys haven't played the first game, there's actual people in performance with her, because there's voices in her head, and she's basically talking to different personalities in her head as with her disorder. And the way that they were able to, like, with the first Hellblade, kind of that mocap and her like coming up to the camera and you had all these voices in your head, and the performance was really believable in the first one, and the fact that they're amping that up is, and to this degree, where I feel like this is probably the best mocap I've seen for a video game right now, at least. You have artistic reputations of it for sure. Like Last of Us, I think looks incredible as well. This is still, it just looks real to me. Like when I look at Last of Us 2, one of the best looking games out there for sure, right? That still has like the stylized look. Same thing with Horizon. It looks real at times, but sometimes you have the moment where you're like, oh, there's just something I can't explain exactly what it is. I know I could explain it better in Horizon because the intention was for it to be more stylized, but Last of Us has that sort of realistic, gritty vibe to it. But at the same time, it's not completely real. When I saw this Hellblade thing, I'm like, dang. If I just paused this, I'm like, that's a real person. They credit to them. They've done an absolute amazing job. Some of the hardest things to do when you are making a face is the texture of the skin and having blood sort of come through the skin, because skin is transparent. So that's why for years a lot of games has had this sort of clay look to the skin. It's really hard to do skin. You have that, and then like the wrinkles in the nose and certain expressions and stuff, where she has the little thing in the nose. How good it looks at in the dark is just, it's super impressive. I would love to see this in gameplay cutscenes, stuff like that. Just to show some people, like, I know it's possible, but you kind of have to shut some of these people up. So let's see it happen. Let's see it happen, Ninja Theory. All right. So, voila! So I'm gonna actually do something really quick. This is not gonna be a super long show. I encourage you guys, whoever is watching after this show, go check out the Fun Speculation. I believe he's live, probably doing PM on the PM. So definitely go check them out after this show. But I did want to show you, like, this is called Character Creator 3. It has some features that remind me of MetaHuman. So I did want to kind of like show you a little bit of it. Say no. Just to show you where technology is. So I'm going to bring in a picture of Angelina Jolie. And I asked some of the Fun Speculation fam to give me a picture of them, but they didn't want to do it. So I'm just going to use Angelina Jolie as a picture. Say female generate. Now, I haven't tested this. I have no idea if it's going to look good or not. But what the software is, it kind of does remind me of MetaHuman in a lot of ways. You drop a picture in. It's kind of like think about like a detailed video game, like I don't know, you're in a character creation thing. So you drop in a photo. What a lot of games are doing nowadays are scans. So right now it's loading. So you drop in scans of the face, which is what they do in Hellblade. They scanned her face like completely. The cheap version of that is getting a really good headshot, and it takes the texture of that headshot and projects it onto a 3D model. So it is still loading though. So let's see with some questions. Big Matt Moes, Hellblade 2 is the best looking game I've ever seen in my life. I agree. Like, I know it's like early, but based off of the gameplay that we saw a while ago, I know people are saying like, where's the UI? Well, Hellblade doesn't really have the UI. That's one thing. Second thing is, I think what most people want to see is fighting. They finished the mocap for the fighting, if I'm not mistaken. Like, I think I remember them saying that they finished mocap, but then I keep seeing posts about mocap. So I wonder if it's just older post, or if they actually did finish it. So we'll see. But to me, it is one of the best looking games I've definitely seen in my life. That is for sure. I'm gonna have to wait for this to load. Look, see, I tested this before the show. It worked. Oh wait, now it worked as soon as I screen. All right, so we got a picture of Angelina Jolie. I just found it off the internet, and it kind of projected. I had no idea what this was gonna look like before the show, but it doesn't look too bad. There's a couple things you can fix. But you could see how it projected her image texture onto the face. That's kind of technology right now. Like, literally, you have a picture of somebody, and you can make it a 3D model, which is super impressive. So I have. It's not perfect, but you know, we could do some stuff with it. I'm going to start. I'm start sculpting it. So give me a second. She's bald though. She's gonna need some hair. So I'm gonna drop some hair on her. It's not Angelina Jolie hair, but this is just a demonstration. Okay, so we already got Angelina Jolie, and it took like maybe a minute, maybe 2 minutes to fully do this. Where is the bridge? Oh, here's. So then we get like a sculpting, so we can really get into the feel things of actually like starting to mold a character. Super impressive. Is something similar in MetaHuman, which is what they're using in Hellblade, so that's why I think it would be cool to kind of show you guys. You have the front camera view, and then you have things, for example, where you use image matching. So you can actually take an image of Angelina Jolie, and you can kind of compare to see how close it is. You could be like, okay, the eyebrows I could probably mess with, maybe the nose. So you can sort of use the opacity and kind of make the nose bigger, make it smaller. You can constantly just keep comparing it till it's relatively close. Like her nose is about here. Her kind of goes down like that. That's pretty close. And then a little bit in there. A little bit in here. But anyways, so then let me get rid of that. So it's looking a little bit more like her. The texture is not going to be perfect because I just grabbed some random headshot image. Could change the side of the nose. I feel like that's too small. Something like that. And voila. Right. So this quick version of this character. Let's give her some makeup. Yes. All right, let's see what this does. All right. All right, and same again. These tools are. It's very similar in MetaHuman, which is awesome. You get very similar tools in MetaHuman, and where you can customize the eyebrows, the nose, until it looks more like this character. I would say MetaHuman's textures, the texture definition, like the wrinkles and stuff, is more advanced than this software. But let's say that this doesn't look that bad either, right? So I'll give her some clothes, and then we will call it a day. Let's give her a plaid shirt. She wears some plaid, right? Here's some pants. And voila. This is Angelina Jolie. And this is a quick demo version, right? If I were to actually go in and try and make it look like Angelina Jolie, I would probably use that as a base and then completely just keep working on it. You could bring it into another program to do mocap, make her talk, things like that, like you've seen in the Hellblade demo. But I digress. Maybe for another stream, I'll show you guys her talking and things like that. If you guys want to see that. But I do always want to end my streams with showing you guys some game dev things, because I don't think there's enough of it. In this community, I think a lot of game devs, they maybe appear on some shows, and they can't even really talk about game development. They just kind of talk about the latest topics or latest games coming out, which I love doing. Don't get me wrong. I just had a whole, hour segment about Phil Spencer and things like that. I love talking about the gaming news and things like that. But I think sometimes it's cool to see the other side of it. See the actual game development, what technology is out there, things like that. So I know this is a shorter show, but I encourage everybody to go watch Mav and Pong fun speculation. I hope this was cool for you. If you were watching, getting to see maybe how you can make 3D models of different faces, things like that. Hope you guys enjoyed that. But definitely go check them out. Everybody who's here, please leave a like on your way out. Love you guys. Appreciate you. And I'll see you guys in the next one.